This is The Real Chat, where we discuss the real.
From relationships to love.
To all around companionship.
I'm LL.
And I am Sunny.
Let's get to chatting.
Yeah, so you think they should date for a couple years before they even get married?
In my experience, I say 4 or 5. You know, and I know maybe because again things are starting, you know, in the later 20s, early 30s for a lot of what do you call them, millennial?
Yeah, millennials.
Okay,
I'm a millennial. Yes.
I have kids that are millennials, so I know that they're right around those ages of where they're now considering, who would I bring in to share this life with?
Yes.
Okay, so but even at that point, you got to give it the time to assess and learn and really experience to say, is this the person? And now it doesn't take a year.
Me personally, I feel like at least 2 to 3 years. I feel like it's enough because we are always going to constantly be learning each other. We're always developing. We're always turning to new people. Not to say that we're not the same people. We're always evolving. So we're always going to have something to learn about each other.
But it doesn't have to be.
And now younger age, yes. Now in your younger ages, now if you're like 22, 20, yeah, take those 5 years to learn somebody. But at 30 years old, I'm not dating anybody for 5 years before they marry me. Right. 2 is enough. Right. Okay. 2 is enough.
And I respect that.
Yes,
you know?
I get it earlier because I was in a 6-year relationship and no marriage was being talked about. So it's just like. And that, so once you get out of a relationship like that and you meet a guy that you really like, you're not trying to date them that long. You're trying to get it, get it there, and learn them, and then get it there.
And I get it. And again, maybe it was for us because we were younger.
Yes.
And maybe we weren't as experienced in life and in the world and all those things. But again, I think number one, you have to be mature. You have to be a mature individual. Yes. You know, because relationships are mature. They're maturity. They take work and they take discipline and they take time. Now it's not like, you know, I'm carrying a load of bricks. It's not that kind of work. But you know, you also have to be serious enough and serious minded enough to say, okay, once you maybe have met this person, I'm willing to put some thought and some time into this.
You're building. Right. Literally building. And
the two of you are sharing, you know, building that structure. So like you said, you know, now you don't want to do 5 years or something. And I get it. That's a good amount of time.
2 years is 2 years. If you're spending ample amount of time with each other and conversating about these heavy topics early and learning things, it honestly depends on the relationship and the people. If you're healed and you're ready to be intentional and talk about the heavy things first and learn each other, I feel like you can get there. But the thing about being young, and like you were saying, just like you were saying, in your time, yes, that made a lot of sense because I feel like that's what was instilled in you, like with your family dynamic and you guys seeing those marriages and being in those households is like, okay, this is what I want. Y'all knew from jump. A lot of these people, these millennials and younger, they have not seen that, so they don't even know what to expect. They don't even know how to start it. Right. So,
I asked this quick question because I don't want to get off of our topic, but do you think now, I guess both men and women, but I'm hearing this more about men, that men today are, and as men are becoming men, developing into their, you know, teens, into their 20s, into their 30s, they're not as mature as far as manhood and say what they would call silver foxes, guys, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Do you find that to be the case? Well, maybe these young men aren't as mature or not mature enough.
I feel like they just lack the family dynamic. That's all. I feel like a lot of these men today haven't had great father figures, or they haven't been able to see real marriages or seen a man being committed to even be committed. They have to see a committed man to value that. And some men can pull it from other directions. They might have seen a TV show like The Cosby Show, or seen things that they grew up in and was like, oh yeah, I want that. They might not have had it in their household, but they might have valued it just from what they've seen on TV. But other men, if they're not watching that, they're watching, you know, all of those, you know, hood classics and stuff like that. They don't have the dynamic. They're lost. They don't know. Not saying that they can't develop it, but it's just not an initial thing, and unfortunately, it has to be taught. Right. So
young men today,
it takes maturing. Yes.
Don't maybe have all of the examples that they need, or the specific examples that they may need to develop in that way to be ready for a woman. at a certain stage in their lives. So again, it may take place, that relationship development may take place later because of that. Especially on the male end.
Yes.
But then again, and guys, don't jump at me, because I'm not saying all men, all young men, because all depends on your life, lifestyle, the examples in your life. Like you said, having a man in your life that taught you about being a man and about how a man should treat a woman. So
and
all
then
of that
some people, and it really depends on the person, because some men, they might not have that dynamic and want it so badly because they didn't have it. They might say, "Oh, my mom, I didn't see my mom being supported properly. I didn't see a man there for her, so I want to find a woman and I want to be that for her.
Be that. Exactly.
I want to be. I see what my mom went through, and I don't want to put another woman through that. I want to be everything that woman."
Exactly.
So it all depends on how it's being interpreted.
Again, it's in the maturity of that individual. Like you said, there may be the situation where a young man is raised by his single mom, and he saw her work so hard, saw her sacrifice so much, saw her struggle, and then maybe saw how men didn't treat her correctly, and him watching that growing up, like you said, it gives you that thing to say, I want to be completely different than that. I want to be able to not only take care of my mama, which that's a big thing for me. You meet a man and he says,
I want to buy my mama a house.
Yeah, but my mama, when he all about his mama, they say mama's boys, but they're different levels to that. But when he just wants to do respectfully to his mom, look at that in a man you meet. But again, coming from that example, he's saying, I don't want to do the same thing. I don't want to be that same kind of man.
Exactly.
I not only will take care of my mama, but I want a woman in my life that I can do right by. I've learned these examples of what not to do, and I want to do the right thing.
I want to do the right thing.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
I feel like marriage and relationship, it depends on the people to where it's different. Some people don't take relationships seriously, and like dating, they don't take it seriously. They meet the right person, and then they're like, okay, I'm about to put my all into this, because they court them. They work for that marriage. Like, oh, I'm about to put this effort in because I want to marry this person. So does things really change with a marriage? In my opinion, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. They should know exactly who they're about to marry, and the commitment, the loyalty, all of those things should come before you get to that marriage. The trials and tribulations need to be worked through. Y'all need to go through a little something to learn each other and to see how you both take that on and how you can move past it. And if you can move past it, the mental maturity and all of those things, communication is important. I feel like all of those standpoints you need to learn before you even hop into that marriage. And if you are, I don't really think there is a difference between. It's just that those vows that you take to one another. Not saying that you shouldn't be committed beforehand, but it's just like me standing up and say, hey, I don't want anybody else on this planet but you for the rest of my life, and I'm willing to sign that document, that marriage, and to tell the world that you are my partner, you are my wife, you are my husband.
Well, and again, that is not only a maturity, but what it is you've decided it's in here to say, this is where I'm committed, this is where I'm determined to make this life. Well, this is who I'm determined to make this life with. And like you said, I'll put my personal experience in again. Being with my wife for the years that I was with her before, and developing the relationship is where we got to the actual marriage. And before we even went down the aisle, but we're planning the marriage at the same time, we sat down again, just like I always stress, sit down, have the conversation, talk, put it all on the table to say, hey, this is what we've had in this relationship as this boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, couple, whatever the term is. We've developed this respect and we've moved in this direction. Well, we're going to continue this. It's not just because we put the rings on and because we have the marriage license, and all of a sudden things change. Like as a man, my wife made it clear. She said, don't all of a sudden, because now I'm your wife, lock me down.
Right.
Say, I can't do this.
You can't do that. Don't do that.
You can't go with the girls no more. You can't go out by yourself. You can't, it can't. And really, it moves so effortlessly into that next stage. It was like it was the day before we got married. The day after we got married. It's the same. It's just you've done the official thing. You went to see the judge. You went to see your pastor, your priest, and you said the vows. You signed the marriage certificate, and boom, that No, there should not be.
I've heard the crazy thing. I've heard some women say, "Oh, I'm not gonna cook for him until we're married. Like once we marry, he can get that meal." Girl, what?
No.
No, like I don't understand. I love cooking is my love language. Feeding my man is my love language. I love to cook. So to wait until you get married to cook, girl, you don't want to cook.
No.
You just don't want to cook.
If you ain't cooked early on in the relationship, you ain't all of a sudden gonna start just because
you're married. Right? No.
And then can you cook?
Right.
You know, that's important.
That to me, okay. So you think that's important, right?
Oh,
okay. See,
yeah.
I value that. I mean, I don't know if I value it because I know how to. Of course, I'm not trying to be biased, but I feel like if I was a man or anybody, if I was a woman, I would want like a partner that know how to do a little something in the kitchen. It's nice, you know, to get a good meal. Oh yeah. I mean, that's my. I love it.
That's again, as you develop a relationship, man to woman. I'll say black man to a black woman. That's very important. It has been from my time, my experience. Yes. Because another way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Yep. Okay? So I was fortunate. I come from, the woman that I fell in love with came from a country background. Yes. She's a country girl. So everybody throw down. So of course, she was in the kitchen learning to do that.
I enjoy her mama's cooking.
Yes, ma'am. 24/7.
Yes.
So, but she learned that, and she made me aware of that very early on when she started throwing down and preparing those meals. Yes. And I could put my hands up and be like, okay, I love this about it, I love this, I love this, I love this, I love it. And then she added the cooking. I was like, don't take 3 fingers.
Yes.
Because sister, throw down.
Yes, learn. I'm sorry, but ladies, learn. Before that marriage, I think it's important to learn how to cook. And plus, when you have kids and stuff, you just going to be ordering out all the time.
No, that's expensive.
TV dinners. Y'all can get them King's cuisine.
No, that's horrible.
No, horrible. I think it takes nothing to learn how to cook. And there's such simple recipes out here. I don't care if it's a salad or something. Learn how to cook something. Make something. You know. And
ladies, don't take this where it's all on you.
No.
Guys should be learning to cook also.
As well. I literally said the other day, I said, when I have a kid, I have a son, I don't care. He's getting the kitchen set. I don't think I think that's a unisex toy. He is going to have a kitchen set. I love it. I love it. I think men should not, like my boyfriend, he cooked for me last night. I came home from work and there was food there.
Yeah, and again, that also can come from examples in your life. There's a man there and he's doing those things. For me, it was. Yes. I had a great father, and he was cooking, and he might not have been throwing out no 3-course meals, but he made sure we had that meat, we had that starch, that rice, and that green, exactly. And on weekends, he definitely was throwing down with breakfasts, eggs and bacon and sausage, So it wasn't just on my mom, and I learned those things, and I enjoyed those things. There were certain things that as we grew up, we loved. Like I love rum cake. So my mama taught me how to make rum cake. So like I said, it should be both. But I think what a man is, and correct me if I'm wrong, a man today, I think, is still looking for a woman, a sister that can throw down.
I think so too. I think you're so right. I feel like men today still value women that cook. They do. No matter what they say, they love a good meal, especially if it's good. Like, oh wow, she took the time to feed me. If you have, if you're scared about what you have to offer, at least know how to do that. Right. At least know how to cook a good meal. You can get really far with just that. Right. You really can.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I think, again, that's another one of those perks and the pluses. But again, you learn that over time about your partner.
Yes.
But I think you should have should be given the opportunity to see that early on.
Exactly.
And from both. Because if you're spending that time, that means there's going to be times you're waking up together, times you're falling asleep together, times you're spending time together where y'all got to eat, and it's not always going to be going out to a restaurant.
And sadly, I know women will come to the dating scene looking for a husband and say, just like straight out, I don't cook. And I'm just like, I hope, hopefully they find a man that can cook, because then they'll be balanced. If that man comes to like, I love to cook, then they have that. They have that balance. Right. You know what I'm saying? But just coming to the table and saying, I can't cook.
And I don't cook.
And I don't cook.
And that,
I'm just like, oh, okay.
And then I'd say for me, that would be a strike. She's telling me not only that she can't cook, but she ain't gonna cook.
Yeah, so she's not even gonna try.
Yeah, because you started from jump to say, I ain't gonna do something. I ain't gonna, whereas, and you come into a relationship and as mature individuals, and you'd be open. You're coming and you're offering yourself to the other and vice versa.
Yes.
You should be saying, okay, I might not be aware of that, or I might not be familiar, or I might not have history, but I'm willing because of you.
I'm willing to learn.
I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to give it a shot and go for it and make it happen.
Yes.
And especially now they got couples cooking classes.
Yes, they do.
And
they do.
even my wife and I, we never attended one, but we talking about taking one now, even though we both can throw down.
Yes,
because they're fun.
Yes.
And it's something else you do
fun.
together.
It's so fun.
So it's like again, a relationship to marriage. No, it should be seamless.
Yes.
There should be, as long as you cool in the relationship before that.
Yes.
Then
you should know what you're signing up for. Because you're
should
literally
be
signing up
seamless.
for it. You should know what you're signing up for.
You're signing up for the extension of the relationship that you started from jump and that you've been happy with all of this time. Now, again, you ain't happy, then why are you progressing? Why are you getting married?
Why are you getting married?
That's another mistake, but we ain't gonna go there.
Yes.
So if you're that happy to say, I want to marry this woman,
Exactly.
she wants to marry this man, we want to start a life together in being committed, being disciplined, being determined, being together, building a life, then you're going into this marriage. It's seamless. It shouldn't change from what you've developed that time prior.
Nope.
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
And that is
The Real Chat.
Peace.